Hello, and welcome to Covert Castaway. I'm Holly.
Je suis Stéphane.
Join us as we share what we learn and how we're making the transition to liveaboard cruising. Okay, so this time next week, Saturday, we will be in Montenegro back on our boat.
Recording a podcast on the boat.
Recording a podcast on the boat, exactly. So, wow, we've had 5 months here. We've been focused on other things, and suddenly we have to pack our bags, and we're kind of freaking out. I am, at least.
Yeah. I wish we had like 1 more month.
Not 1 more month. I would just say 2 more weeks maybe would be
2 more
good.
weeks to wrap things up. But
It went by fast.
Yeah, because we shipped some stuff last week to Montenegro. As a side note, that was the most expensive
box in the world.
Box is traveling first class.
I hope something good was in there. What did we have to put in the box to get on the boat?
Boat stuff that is hard to get in Montenegro, and boat stuff that is going to be hard to get, in other places too. So we ordered a bunch of stuff, and then put it in a box and shipped it all to Montenegro. So some stuff came from France all the way to California, Nevada, and then we're shipping it back. But the reason for that is you pay a tax on any package you send to Montenegro, and it doesn't matter the price, doesn't matter the weight, the size. So we had to consolidate everything in one box, but that was a $1,500 shipment.
Yeah, that was insane. But anyway, and our connecting flight is not very long. We're flying from SFO to Istanbul, which is a 13 and something hour flight. And then we have a pretty short connection.
Yeah, an hour, 15 minutes or
I don't think it's that long. I thought it was under an hour. But we have 2 carry-ons, and that'll be fine to get us through. So,
well, let's talk about COVID for a minute, because I'm sure people are wondering, like, okay,
how are you getting over there and what's going on? Yeah.
So first we got vaccinated, so that's good. Now it seems that we can get into Montenegro just on the fact that we've been vaccinated, but there are conflicting news, so we're not taking any risks. So we're going to do a PCR test, which is going to be the standard anyway to travel from country to country as we understand it right now, regardless of vaccination. That might change, but so that's the situation for us to get back into Montenegro. We also probably talked about this before, but because we had a marina contract for the winter, we were able to apply to a temporary residency in Montenegro. So that's going to be valid until May 1st.
So the reason that matters is, had they shut their borders and not allowed in anybody from the U.S. or whatever, we would have still been able to get in. So it turns out that's not the case, but it was good to have that as a backup.
Yeah. And things could change. It's the policy is being revisited every week, and we've seen in France now the whole country is reconfined, and so things can change. But so we'll see what happens. But we're hopeful that we're going to be able to move around following the COVID rules in each country. But hopefully everybody learned from a year ago, and it makes it a little easier.
Yeah. But I just can't believe this time next week we're going to be sitting on our boat. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and I didn't start to totally miss it until the weather got good here. It was snowing a couple weeks ago, and you were skiing week before last.
Good weather.
Yeah,
it was good weather for skiing, but it seems like in a week everything's shifted.
Changed.
The temperatures
the snow's melted. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, it feels spring/summer for Tahoe.
Right.
And different vibes. So suddenly, you're thinking of get
Let's
on
go the boat. Yeah.
Let's anchor somewhere. And so, it's been a good break. We were able to do lots of stuff. But now I
totally
think
not
excited.
related to sailing, though, which is sort of why we've been quiet. We've been sort of doing this and that and little projects and personal stuff. And, so I feel like we haven't had a whole lot to share related to sailing, which is why we haven't really recorded too much. But now that our brain is getting on the boat, we'll have to kind of think through.
And as a side note, for people who worry, like, oh, if I quit my job, what am I going to do on the boat? And then if I, get off the boat for half of the season, or during the off season, what am I going to do?
There's a lot to do.
Newsflash. We wish we had more time.
Yeah.
And we definitely got busy and did different things.
So let's just talk about that for a minute, because so I started getting little gigs through my work stuff, and I didn't want to go back to work, and I feel like I haven't really gone back to work. They're more like projects, like temporary projects that I'll be able to step away from. But it's amazing. I quit my job. I'm like, yeah, I quit my job. I'm on sabbatical now. And then, people hear I'm back in the States, and they're like, oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And suddenly it's kind of this thing. So that was kind of cool. So I guess you don't really know what the universe has in store for you until you kind of turn the page.
Yeah, which is a theme that we got from listening to different podcasts. It's hard to find. You're thinking, okay, go cruising, but it's still going to cost money. How are we going to finance that? And a lot of people ask themselves the same questions, and everybody has a different risk tolerance and financial, situation. But the theme from all the podcasts was quit your job, go do what you want to do, and things will come up. And
that's definitely been what we've seen.
Yeah. Suddenly, you got all this through your friends and all this work, and so it's good money to pay for the cruising season.
Yeah, it's paid for the whole season and probably next season too.
Yeah.
So that wasn't expected.
Yeah. I got deep into cryptocurrency, which I probably would have never spent the time being the regular day-to-day life.
Because it takes time to learn all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a steep learning curve and get comfortable with it. Yeah. And it's been so far financially very rewarding. So suddenly you find things that, things come to you and then you take advantage of those opportunities.
I started an online French class.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to learn French, sort of.
After years of attempts, this is the year, 2021.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we've been doing. So we won't bore you with kind of the boring
snowboarding.
Stuff. Snowboarding, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been fun.
Yeah. So some of the things that we said we were going to do on this break in Tahoe was to, plan where we were going to cruise this season, because last season was kind of filled with boat delivery, get the boat to Eastern Europe, race against the visa. I had my work stuff, it goes on and on. And
boat projects, yeah. Learning about the boat. So those were like the
big things,
the themes.
And so that wasn't like so fun. It wasn't like we were cruising yet.
And that was and dealing with COVID. And that was a shorter season because we started early
late.
July.
Right.
Yeah, so that was July, August, September, October, I think, when we got we got even earlier, maybe
in Montenegro.
So that was a 3-4 months cruising season.
If that, yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of logistical constraints. And so that was definitely not the cruising.
Ideal. Yeah.
Which, as a side note for people who get their boat their first year, to be realistic.
About the first year. Yeah, we've talked about that before. So now we're like, so this is our real season cruising. Like, we're really going to cruise now. And so I had 8
months. And then those are the 3 countries that we want to go to, like Croatia, Greece, and Turkey. This is what we've prioritized in the Med. So it's like, we have time.
So what are our cruising plans?
Well, Croatia, Greece, and Turkey.
I know. So we actually didn't take the time to figure out where exactly we wanted to go.
No, and I don't know. I think
yet.
Well, we
should say yet.
We watched documentaries, like historical.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. So at least we know a little bit more about
where we're visiting and the history. Yeah,
but
that was
no
useful.
idea of like what places to go to.
And I kind of feel okay with that, because a lot of advice also we've gotten is to keep your expectations. Like, don't get your heart set too much on any one thing, because then you'll be disappointed if you can't make it, or the weather window doesn't allow for you to stop, or all these things. So it's kind of almost better, because I feel like anything we discover is going to be awesome.
Yeah. Plus, we're focusing on 3 countries, 8 months, so minimum 2 months per country, some 3 months. So it feels that, and we're not going to try to see everything.
Right.
We're going to, I mean, at least that's the goal right now. We're going to really kind of enjoy
where we are.
Where we are. And the other thing, which is also sometimes the best cruising guide, is you're talking to other cruisers who've been there. You're exchanging this information, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you should go there. You should go there." And we're going to meet people along the way and make decisions, along the way.
Yeah.
And so that's just not, the goal is not just the destination of what to see, but it's also discovering places with new friends.
Right.
And,
So we're going to do buddy boat to Croatia because there's a couple people in Montenegro that want to go as well. And so that'll be exciting. And then we're meeting up with a friend of mine. Her and her husband and her kids are going to be chartering a boat in Croatia. And so that'll be a lot of fun. And then another friend that I sort of have this work project with is from Croatia, as is his girlfriend, and we're going to meet them there too. So I think Croatia actually will be a lot of fun.
So so our cruising guide is going to be connections.
Yeah, trying to see if the schedule works or not, but not having any expectations.
Yeah.
And then Greece will be interesting because I feel like sort of all the other countries are like, oh, we're sort of locked down and, we have restrictions and there's entry requirements and stuff. And Greece is like, come on, come all. Like,
mid-May.
Yeah.
Doors all open.
Doors are open.
Americans, welcome, everybody.
And so I kind of feel like Greece might be, I don't know, might be a mess.
It might be the destination
in the Med.
In the Med.
Yeah.
So because right now, I mean, countries like France and Germany, and they're kind of running late vaccinating people, and the variants are like, it increases the rate of the variant. So those countries are not doing so well. And people have been tired of being confined. Yeah. And I see.
So what Greece is doing is they're like, these different companies are creating these boat vacations so you can isolate on the boat, basically. So they're like, no problem. Like, you have to isolate? No problem. Here, go on this boat trip. And so I'm even concerned that because of that, there'll be more charter boats than ever before, or packed more than before, because people will be doing that as a way to get out of the COVID requirements. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it may be that we have to make a call at some point in Greece and be like, this is crazy, let's go to Turkey. And then, Turkey has its own set of...
Yeah, I think Turkey is going to be
similar. Same, yeah. Because of Brexit, a lot of the British flagged boats are now in the same visa situation. Right? Or the citizens are in the same visa situation. So whereas they would normally be able to cruise a longer season, they're going to be probably spending more time in non-Schengen areas to deal with the visa situation.
Yeah, if they cruise like long...
Yeah,
like
longer periods of time.
Yeah, if they just take a month off, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but if they have boats in the Med, traditionally you would think that, or assume that they were spending more time on their boats. Who knows?
People might be cruising in the summer in the Med and come back to the UK in the winter or something.
Yeah,
and we'll see. Luckily, there are lots of islands both in Croatia, Greece, and Turkey. So. Hoping we can find some places that are like away from too many boats, but so that's our general plan. And before we kind of hopped on the mic, we were talking about goals for this season, and not logistical so much, but just like aspirational what
goals.
Do we want to take out of the season when we come back early December, like
right? And so I said, hold that thought, let's turn the mic on. So I haven't even heard what your initial thoughts are on this.
So definitely I'm hoping that this season is going to be more of a true cruising season. Mm-hmm. So
what's that look like for you?
For me, it's we're hopping from places to places, but in each place, if we like it, we might stay a week at a time and just get a little routine. You get up, jump in the water,
A routine on a boat?
If you don't have to move, because I think what people don't realize, when you're two people in a boat and you're running the whole boat with two people, it's a lot of work. It depends. If you hop from small places to small places, that's no big deal. But it takes some time to get everything going, and then to find an anchorage and be happy with it. And so if you suddenly
get settled,
you like the place, and one place or another, they're all pretty nice. So why not stay in the same place and just do things that have more time to do certain things? Hang out with other cruisers. And what I was starting to talk about this morning is like, well, let's really prioritize to do videos this year. So last year, because like we said, it was logistically quite involved, we captured a lot of video.
We took a lot of video. We have so much video.
But we just turned the camera on. But there was no... Yeah, so... And that was my project, to work on this winter, but then realized the files had the wrong dates and everything was mixed up.
So pro tip, if you change batteries in your camera, make sure you set the right date. So all the dates got screwed up in the footage. So
and you have pictures and videos from different sources, and then it starts to be a mess. And
what I did though last season is I did these little snippets, I have a GoPro, and then I have the GoPro software on my phone. And I literally just edited these snippets on my phone.
Yeah, as we were sailing along.
We were going along. And so we would go visit places, and I'd have my GoPro and my cell phone, and I would take video and photos on both my cell phone and my GoPro. And then it would just, in minutes, I could edit a couple-minute video. And that was really good, because I think for my family and our families, they could kind of see what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like those,
Yeah, I think for people who are in high tech, and there's the waterfall model, and that's kind of what we did last year. captured stuff, thinking, during the winter we'll go through all this footage, and then it's like a nightmare.
And then we went snowboarding instead.
And then we had other priorities suddenly, because it's no fun. So the idea is let's use kind of the Scrum approach, where you do releases,
You're so nerdy right now.
No, but it's a good analogy for us to just be instead of doing a 25-minute video with a theme, suddenly it's involved. Well, let's just capture stuff.
Yeah, I think that,
release more often.
And I like it because, our family can see real time what we're doing.
And then if you screw up with the sound, or if you screw up with the whatever, you're it's too bad, but at least you learn from it, and the next 3 days you're fixing that problem, and then during the season you get better, because there's a learning curve. People see okay, the Delos videos, everything is cool, and you're I'm going to do
amazing.
These videos,
but the bar's so high,
and they have at least they had all these people, and so you capture a lot of stuff. When you're two people, you're quite busy, and especially the first season.
So I'd like to get people's thoughts too. If you have thoughts on this or comments, I'd love to hear, what you guys would be interested in, given kind of all of the things we just discussed. So you can reach us on sailingalwyn@gmail.com on this topic. So that's one goal. So we want to capture some of these moments, I guess, in a better way. And, so I'm on board with that. So what are some other goals you want to do? What?
No, I think the other goal, we touched a bit on it, is to cruise.
Yeah. It's to visit the places.
As opposed to move and to fix, to do boat project. I'm sure we'll have to fix stuff. We ship some stuff, so we have to do boat projects. But it's a question of priorities, So maybe there's some stuff we do before we leave Montenegro. There might be some stuff that for sure we'll have to do along the way. But there's maybe some stuff we say, hey, once we get to Turkey, then we'll focus on getting those projects done for the following season.
Right.
And we're going to deal with it for this season. So it's finding this balance. So I'm hoping we're going to.
I think that's an excellent point. Yeah, I feel like as the years gone by, well, it's not been a year yet, but half a year, however long it's been. I went from, okay, we have to do this. We have to make sure all this is done. Then we can enjoy ourselves. Like that was sort of I was still in work mode. And I feel much less that way now going into this season. I feel like I've sort of mentally made a transition, like, well, maybe we'll get to it and maybe we won't get to it. And, I think who we have to thank for that is these other people that have given us advice, because we're never going to be able to enjoy it if we're, you have to have everything buttoned up and all the projects done and, all the stuff. And I feel like at least for me mentally, I've made that transition.
Yeah. And I think because, we benefited from this Facebook group with the same boat owners. And people have a lot of ideas, a lot of great ideas.
Really great ideas.
And then you take notes like, okay, project 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you build a huge list.
And you can feel kind of competitive, like, oh, they did that, we got to do that,
It's maybe not competitive, but it feels like, oh, yeah, we need that.
Yeah.
We need that,
yeah,
we
that's
need
what
that.
I meant.
And suddenly...
you have all these things to do.
Yeah, and it takes a long time and some skills and getting in foreign places, those parts. And now you're like, oh, I truly need it. But then looking back, it's for example, the batteries. So we were like, when we buy the boat, oh, let's get the boat right away with lithium batteries, with induction.
Yeah, the whole thing. Now we're like, eh.
And then looking back, it's like, well, we have AGM batteries. they work great. We have the gas stove, and it works great. So let's just not try to do everything at the beginning.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
let's use it. Let's see how you want to use your boat. And then probably once we get to the Caribbean, maybe we'll go to the US for a couple of months and do like some projects before we move to the Pacific. But at least over the next 4 or 5 years, it's just perfect system.
I know. It's so funny because it's kind of like if you when you buy a new house or you move into a new place or whatever, you're like, yeah, I'm going to paint the walls and I'm going to redo the kitchen and I'm going to all this stuff. And then you get in and you paint the walls and then maybe you don't redo the kitchen, and then you start like living with it and you're like, okay, it's fine. It works. And I kind of feel like we've maybe turned, at least for me, I've mentally turned this corner. Like, okay, let's just enjoy, where we're at. So,
and then you wait, especially on technological stuff, you wait 4 or 5 years. Then prices go
changes,
down, the technology gets better, the people who are going to do the implementations get more knowledgeable and experienced, so you're going to benefit from that. So yeah, sometimes you just want everything from the day one to be done from all these projects, and then you realize like you don't need all that. We already have a nice boat and people go cruising with.
Well, and honestly, we can, like this boat is a beautiful boat, but like we could be happy on a little boat too, and, an older boat. And it's just what you want to make of the experience, really. Mm-hmm. So are there things that you're not looking forward to?
Well, yeah.
Besides bad weather?
No, because I think for this, if there is a Medicaid, like there was last year.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah, so that definitely projects over a huge area, and then it moves. So you need to be able to be in the right place. And it could happen again because I think climate change, the Med gets warmer, and later in the season, then you have the potential in this body of water between Sicily and Greece. It's a large body of water, and suddenly you can have this Medicaid. So you need to be far away from that.
And we need to have some kind of bailout plan.
But the good thing at the same time is, all this season we're going to do coastal cruising basically. So I'm not too worried about the weather. I think, like we talked about, it's more of a pain if you have lots of boats in those touristic destinations.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah. And so every time you go on an anchorage, you have boats with different skill sets on how to anchor, and people come for the day and they anchor on top of your chain. And so you have that to deal with and accept that's part of the...
and we may even do that to somebody too.
So that's something, crowded anchorages, not so fun. Going to marinas.
I don't want to go to any marinas ever again as long as I live.
Yeah, but we got the headset, and I think we learned from the first season to say, no, we don't want to.
Yeah. But when we go back, I also wanted to maybe, for me, get some docking lessons a little more seriously. I think that would make me feel more confident. So
yeah, I mean, only one person is going to dock at a time, but the other person is essential because you need that same frame of mind on how you're going to do this approach, and you can talk about it right before, but if you've practiced different ways of doing it, and then how you're going to communicate this. So I
think that would be good for us.
Yeah.
So that's what you're not looking forward to.
Yeah,
Anything
those
else?
are the primary things. I mean, if we have body issues, we'll have, I'm sure, that, then
it is what it is, yeah.
We've seen that a little bit in Mallorca last year. Suddenly you look for parts, and it's a huge headache.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it gets better. Last year, the inventory and then shipping was a problem because
although
of
with
COVID.
the Suez Canal business, who
so
knows?
but those are the primary things, but that's the price of cruising. I mean, it comes with it. So
cool. So in exactly a week from now, we will be doing another podcast, and we'll be back on the boat, and we're really excited to get going. This is season 4 of Covert Castaway, but this is season 2 officially of our cruising experience. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm thinking that it's going to be a true cruising season, and that's why we put all this project together. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So we'll talk to everybody in a week.
Sounds good.
So Stefan just reminded me too, in case anybody is interested in visiting beautiful South Lake Tahoe, we have our house on a vacation rental program. And that helps just pay for the costs of the house and maybe help also with our cruising kitty. So we invite you to check that out if you want to visit Tahoe. It's beautiful here. The hiking trails are amazing. You can find our property listed on VRBO. It's called Heaven's Nest. Or you can visit us online and book directly on our website at heavensnesttahoe.com. Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, like, or share with another Covert Castaway. Fair winds for now.